Welcome to this week's episode of Thoroughly Entertained. This week, Krista and I discuss whether or not we found enough magic in Oz the Great and Powerful. I'll find out whether or not I'm fired for my selection of the Celebrity Apprentice, and we'll tell you why we liked New Kids on the Block's new song, Remix. Okay, so this week we saw Oz the Great and Powerful. For those people that don't know, this is the origin story for the Wizard of Oz. It kind of establishes who a lot of the main characters in the Wizard of Oz are. I thought it was pretty good. I didn't think it was incredible. Probably it had its weaknesses and its strengths. Tell me what you thought.
Well, I agree with you. One, I was entertained. I thought it was better than last week's Jack the Giant Slayer.
I agree with that.
And I found that entertaining. So, as a whole, I found Oz the Great and Powerful an entertaining movie, but it was at times terrible and other times great.
Yeah.
And a lot of it was a combination of some of the acting and some of the CGI, and other times it was the acting and the sets that made it great.
Yeah.
So, I found it very inconsistent, and that's what the problem I had with it.
Yeah, for me, the strength of the movie was, I thought some of the voice acting from Joey King plays China Girl.
Right, she was my favorite,
who we agree is probably our favorite character. And then Zach Braff, I think, does an excellent job as Finley the Flying Monkey.
Absolutely.
They kind of provide the movie with most of its heart and its humor, and any kind of warmth that's in the movie comes from those two characters. I thought that was the strongest part. For me, the weakness was the visual effects, which surprised me with a Sam Raimi movie, as he has been so successful integrating, live action and digital effects. And I just thought there was too many times where the backgrounds looked shiny and plastic, and where you could almost see the outline of the people in front of the green screen. And I really was shocked to find that was such a weakness in this movie.
Yeah, I remember more than once you turned to me during the movie and you're like, oh no.
Yeah, the initial shot of the Emerald City looks awful.
Yeah, I agree with you. I thought the interesting first 15 or so minutes when it's in black and white was rich and full of depth and things like that. What I really liked about the movie, like I said, the sets, the actual tangible physical sets I thought were done well, as was the costumes were inventive and interesting and colorful.
Yeah, absolutely.
But, it doesn't have the same sense of magic that the original Wizard of Oz has in any way. As far as acting choices go, I thought that as our lead characters, we have James Franco, who plays Oz, and I didn't find him as charming as he needed to be in this kind of a role. In fact, I found him most of the time a little bit slimy.
Yeah.
And he's supposed to be dishonest and things like that, but as someone who makes his living as a magician and having to engage and surprise people, and
charm strangers.
Yes, you need more than just being swarmy. He just seemed a little swarmy to me.
Yeah.
And I found that Michelle Williams' character as Glinda the Good Witch, I actually found the physicality of her performance, the way that she moved her body, and even all the way down to her fingertips, to be very graceful and elegant. And I know you'll disagree when you talk about them.
Yeah.
And then as far as the two sister witches, played by Rachel Weisz and
Mila
Kunis, I thought that they were okay. Rachel Weisz was the strongest one out of the two of them.
Yeah.
She was nuanced and interesting, and she probably had the less screen time.
Yeah.
Mila Kunis just seems like a naive girl and totally inconsistent with, I guess, the power that she has as a witch. I just thought that was a little odd, the structure of that at the beginning of the movie with her character.
Yeah, for me, you mentioned that I disagree a little bit on Michelle Williams. I think she's a fantastic actress, and I have liked her in almost everything I've ever seen her in, and I was just surprised at where she made her choices in this, because I could see a lot of the references and how she played her character to the Glinda of the original Wizard of Oz.
Right.
But I don't think she took that far enough for it to be successful, and I don't think she dialed it back enough to keep it from feeling like a parody. And so I thought she was too breathy, and she was wide-eyed and didn't blink very much, which I noticed a lot of the times, and she never closes her mouth all the way when she talks, and a lot of things that, again, I understand how that's supposed to be referential to the original Glinda, but there's playing an homage to a character, and there's doing an impression of somebody else's performance, and I think she kind of fell uncomfortably in the middle between those two. And yeah, I say in my review, I can't remember a time when I've liked a performance of hers less. And I agree with you on James Franco. He's an actor that I think has charisma, but not charm.
Right.
And I think this is a movie that needed a guy who has charm, who really has kind of that natural, like, you know, crowd-pleasing friendliness that really engages people, and I don't think he ever really does that.
You know, like someone we talked last week about, Nathan Fillion in Castle, and he is a man that exudes charm.
Yeah, charm.
Like almost
to his
every
toes,
single vote. Yeah, that he could have been good in this particular position.
He would have been interesting, for sure.
All right, so let's transition into the Celebrity Apprentice. This week, Scott, it's his guilty pleasure,
Absolutely.
and encouraged me to check out the first episode in this newest season. And well, I'll reserve my opinion. Tell us why you like it so much.
I like the show because I think it's interesting to watch these personalities get pitted against each other, and I like that it's a competitive environment, and these are successful people, and usually people are successful because they're competitive. And you add in the fact that they're playing they're competing for charity, which gives them even more of an edge because they're charities that they're personally passionate about. They're going to fight even harder to get money for those charities. I think the show is interesting. I think it's campy. It's goofy. I think there's times when it's catty and the arguments are funny. I think Donald Trump is a complete cad, and I think that's funny. But for me, I don't think the first episode of this season is the best representation of it because I find the marketing challenges more interesting than the fundraising ones, and this was a fundraising episode. But yeah, it's one of my guilty pleasures. I normally don't like TV like this, but I find this to be like irresistibly entertaining.
Well, because I watched it online, and it was about 15 minutes into the show that I was like, how long is this? And realized that it was
long. Yeah,
2 hours. And then I was like, as I continued to watch it, I was like, come on, like, can it end at all? I was like, this is just painful. Like, and I don't like, and your favorite part is the boardroom, and that was my least favorite part. I was like, skip. Where do we find out who gets kicked off?
Yeah.
Like, I like the challenge portion in any reality show. If there's a challenge portion, like, I appreciate that the most.
Yeah.
Them working on the challenge, them trying to figure out the challenge, them, and then finding out whether they succeeded or not. And so I don't like watching people pick on each other and attack each other and be eviscerated by someone else, and it makes me feel a little bit uncomfortable. And so that's why I struggled with enjoying this particular television show.
I would just encourage you to watch one more episode just to watch a marketing challenge because I think that'll be more interesting to your tastes than a fundraising challenge. So if you could, give it one more chance before you completely give up on it. All right.
I will. All right, so...
Okay, well, we also listened to New Kids on the Block New Song Remix this week, and I loved it. I thought it was terrific. I'm not as big a New Kids on the Block fan as you are, but I'm not going to lie and say that I don't like them, because I do. I have for a long, long time. But I'm not a super fan like you used to be. I thought the song was cool. I thought it was smooth and interesting. I thought the fact that they're playing in front of like real instruments and not computer-generated, synthesizer effects was great. Well, what did you think about it?
Well, initially, when I knew that the single was released in January, I just listened to the little clip that you can listen to on iTunes, which can be hit and miss because if they sample the wrong section of the song, like in this case, I heard the first 15, 30 seconds and I was like, yeah, I'll pass. And I didn't bother ever going back to listen to it again until my friend shared the link to the music video with me on Facebook. And she's like, what do you think? Well, once I saw the video and saw the song in its entirety, like you said, I've been a super fan since I was a teenager, and so, I support the guys, but I don't always love everything that they do.
Of course.
But once I saw the video like took the song to another level to me, and because the music video is so cool and raw, and I liked the gravel, like just the depth in the voice, like Donnie does the lead singing in most of the song. Like I really like that, and he doesn't do a lot of lead vocals.
No, not recently.
The steel guitar, the percussion, all of it like packaged together makes for a really cool, fun song. And once I saw the video, I immediately downloaded the song, and it's become one of my new favorites.
Yeah, and it's a good example of when artists understand themselves better as they get older.
Right.
You really see the New Kids on the Block knowing that we're grown men. We don't need to be singing songs about seeing a girl from across the room and her winking at me and me winking at her. Like, this is a song about men saying, I didn't notice this girl before, but she changed, but she has turned herself around and I notice now.
Well, and it's part of the thing, because I've been to a couple of their concerts since they were not reunited in 2008, and one of the things that, like, they always say in their concerts is, like, you grew up well. Like, you were teenagers when and now you're women, and I like the fact that you're women and we're men,
of course.
We were all really young then, and this song sort of plays homage, a wink to the fact that they have transformed, their fans have transformed, and of course the song is centered around a woman who transforms, but it's just a successful song, and it's a fun song too.
Yeah, and the lyrics are really clever. They have a line in there that's one of my recent favorite lyrics that I've heard in a long time, where they says, she goes from wallpaper to heartbreaker, and I was like, what a great line in a song that is. And the whole song is full of little nuanced things like that. And again, Donnie Wahlberg does the lead vocals on this, which is kind of rare for them. And again, his gruff, kind of gravelly voice suits this type of music better, and this type of song better than maybe somebody like Jordan, who has a little bit smoother falsetto or something like that. It needed a little bit more grit for this song to work, and I think it was a really good choice.
Yeah, it's a fun song.
It's
So
really
we
good.
definitely
Would recommend listening.
Yeah, check it out.
Please listen to this new song. I think you'll like it a lot.
Because radio's not going to pick it up, so
Probably.
It's a good one.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, that's it for this week's episode of Thoroughly Entertained. We hope you enjoyed what you saw. If you did, make sure to like us below, leave a comment, and as always, check out our website at thoroughlyentertained.com. We'll see you next week.